Since mankind was able to walk on the moon, the gaze then turned to our closest relative in the solar system, Mars. Mars may be a dead world in comparison to ours, but it's the next step in humanity's voyage to the stars. Terraform a world like Mars and the universe is your oyster. Unfortunately, it has the potential to unveil all sorts of complications. In this case, the new humanoid civilization who settled on the planet, and are now telling you to get the hell off using giant robots and ancient magic. When a storm brews in the show Aldnoah.Zero, you're certainly in for a bumpy ride and an enormous epic. The universe that Aldnoah.Zero inhabits is a parallel one. Certain key points in human history have been changed. The biggest one being that on one of the moon landing missions in the 70s, mankind stumbled upon what was known as a hypergate, a teleportation facility that acted as a link between Earth and Mars. Mankind used this as a stepping stone to then transport equipment to Mars and settle there. Unfortunately though, the settlers came across ancient artifacts and energy known as Aldnoah. Upon its discovery, these settlers formed the Ver's Empire and cut themselves off from the Earth. You think that would be enough for them, but oh no. 25 years later, they return and start a war with their home world, which results in the moon being destroyed partially. The resulting geographical disasters renders Earth far less habitable than before, and mankind struggles to soldier on. It is now the year 2014, and the Ver's Empire is poised to send its princess down to Earth and strike a peace deal for an ultimate solution. It is here that we meet our main character and his pals. Inaho, a cool and intelligent student and trainee mech pilot, joins his friends at the parade for the Ver's Princess Asylum, which as you would expect goes completely south when terrorists strike. As a result, the Ver's begin an all-out war in retaliation for the presumed death of their princess. She is actually alive though, and in the care of Inaho and his friends, who are trying to outsmart the Martian forces who have exploited the Aldnoan technology for their own ends. The rest of the story is all about getting Asylum back to the Ver's Empire and saving mankind from being obliterated in the fracas. Aldnoah.Zero is meant to be branded as a sci-fi epic, more substantial than your average Gundam series. The team behind this show is a huge collaboration of some of the best creations in recent history. Aoki, the show's director, is spearheading a joint venture under the A1 Pictures banner, which encompasses multiple Japanese studios and broadcasters to produce a what could be portrayed as a paint-by-the-numbers show, but instead produces something with a lot of intelligence, poise, and flair, whilst also being incredibly cool and emotional. Aoki has managed to take humanity and split it down the middle. The settlers which had left Earth in the 70s, when racial equality and ethics were far more uneven, are a stark contrast to modern day society, and they may as well be a different species despite only 40 years of separation. Not even 2 generations. Wow. It may seem a little odd that this new race can be developed so fast, but when you throw in ancient technology which cannot be compared to a real life model, then you can do just about anything. It leaves the door open for anything to occur, but it's also a get out of jail card for any potential plot holes. It's an intricate piece to behold. The main worry I had was that this show would try and do everything so as to appease a committee. But the committee here are like-minded individuals who are creatives at heart, and so they are more willing to compromise and produce something which is unique. The bleak and brutal force of the Ver's forces against the Earth in the first few episodes is relentless and seemingly unstoppable. You get the feeling of helplessness which humanity must be going through despite anticipating a potential assault. The Ver's race hadn't just upped and left 15 years previously. They've been waiting, in the remnants of the moon, longing to finish the job and strike the Earth. This whole time has been a waiting game, and Asylum's supposed disappearance is ground enough to start the assault, and it's here where we start to see things aren't as simple as you might think in terms of plot. There's betrayal, conspiracy, logic, drama, and action all wrapped in this production. It's an accomplished piece with a superb quality, which is a little on the basic side in terms of character design, but it's done with a sheen and pizzazz which is not common enough in anime. And I'm sure you do as well, want more care and attention to be placed in our anime. It looks stunning and a joy to watch. It's not perfect though. There are 2 things I'm not so sure about. Inaho, our main character, is a little too cold and bland for my liking. He keeps his head throughout the early part of the show with little trace of emotion. He is able to show compassion and thought for other people though, but his voice barely changes in timbre and mood, which is unsettling for me. He is frightfully intelligent, which might explain his more logical mindset. He comes up with ingenious solutions to fight a vastly superior enemy and actually beat them, or at least to hold them off. It's remarkable to watch him talk through a plan, and it makes up for his flat demeanor. Another little quibble is that of our Princess Asylum. Wouldn't she have a communication device that transmits back to Mars using Aldnoan technology? The war could be over in minutes. Just saying. That being said, these are such small points that it's hardly grounds for you to not watch this show. Be sure to also pay attention to Slain, the Earthborn minion of Count Crutio, who is in love with Princess Asylum and tries to protect her. He is used as an example of how racist and backwards the Ver's Empire is, and is often beaten up by Crutio for any trace of insubordination. It's enough to make you feel sorry for Slain in his position of being a persona non grata on a Martian ship. It's inevitable that he and Inaho will meet and either work together or duke it out for Asylum's affection. Love will creep its way into proceedings somehow. Aldnoah.Zero is a brilliantly composed show. It's got everything you could want for a mecha drama. It has the mechs, the drama, the space battles, the technology surrounding the mechs, an epic premise, as well as the more emotionally intensive facets of a narrative such as deceit and corruption, with a hint of prejudice thrown in for good measure. I enjoyed my time with the show and respected a lot for being so sophisticated and clever. It's not my favourite mech show though. It doesn't quite have the warm and goofy charm that I long for in a show, but don't let that stop you from giving this a watch. It's clear that the writers wanted to take a more serious route, and I praise them for getting on with their mission and succeeding. Aldnoah.Zero is available to stream on Crunchyroll and Daisuki. My rating? Continue! A serious mech show with superb sceneries and action, plus a truly thought-provoking plot. If you like what you heard, please visit my Patreon campaign to help grow Anifile at patreon.com/MasakoX, or follow me on Twitter at MasakoX, or our dedicated Twitter service at Anifile.